So, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Philip Radukic, and I'm a product manager and senior consultant here at CI Experts, responsible for the browser-based viewing and co-responsible for the IntelliPID module. Today's topic is browser-based API, use cases for API integration and browser-based viewing. So very often introducing UPV is only the first step for many customers. The challenge of having a fully functional digital twin is rather integrating a solution in the existing environment. So this highly depends on the ability to interact with other software solutions. Today, we'll have a quick overview of integration options and possibilities. As always, the session will be recorded and we will provide you the link to the recording subsequently by email. At any time during the webinar, feel free to use the questions panel and state your questions, and I will try to answer as many as possible towards the end of the session. If this is not possible, I will answer them subsequently by email. Okay, so what is today's agenda? First of all, we'll have a general introduction to API, introduction to the new UPV web services. How does API integrate in the UPV web services? How can we actually assign API applications by default to model? And what API features do we have? And basically, in all of these points, we'll also have a look at single use cases that can be accomplished by using API. So first of all, what does API mean? The API, or application programming interface, allows different applications to interact or connect depending on their respective API functionalities. So this means we have an application A and application B that are running for themselves at first. And if we want to make them communicate with each other, you can't directly go into the code. So instead, there's basically an interface in the middle that allows external commands to be executed within the applications. And these can be then connected to create an integration so that these two applications interact seamlessly with each other. So how do the UPV web services fit in there? Well, first of all, the browser-based viewing has become faster and also having a higher quality. We'll also have a look at some details that have changed here, but the API integration has now become a lot easier to integrate your own applications within UPV, or even embed the UPV browser-based viewing completely in your own application hosted on a separate server, for example. So when I'm talking about browser-based viewing and UPV web services, they are, well, almost interchangeable here. Browser-based viewing is part of the UPV web services environment and runs basically on a common base with other web applications from the experts. But not only for UPV access, we have an API. We also have the option to access user management per API. So we have 3 different ways of doing authentication and ensuring security. Here, the first and lowest is the integrated identity server, which can also manage users and permissions and user groups. The second option is using authentication, external authentication. We're supporting basically any authentication provider that supports the OpenID Connect protocol that can be integrated for authorizing users to access the system in general. And the third option is using the API for the user management to, as also some customers already do, to synchronize their non-OpenID Connect authentication service with the identity server integrated database. And additionally, which is also a way of API usage, is the enhanced deep linking, which I'm also going to present today. So let's actually go over to the live demo. So what you see here now is the user interface of the UPV web services with the UPV browser providing some models here. So what is the difference between a regular model and a model utilizing API? We can actually have a look at this when I open up the model straight away. The model runs fully integrated into the browser with zero footprint locally, but it's limited to the features that have been added to the model on creation or on setting up the model provisioning on the or deployment on the server. So I have added another copy of the model here utilizing the API. So here at first glance, it looks like we're using the same model, but with one difference. Now it's reacting to activities. So when I just click on an item, it recognizes which item has been selected and sends back a command from outside to colorize it, in this case, red. And by clicking somewhere in empty space, recognizes no object has been selected and reverts all colors. So that's just one of these callback event features that have been built into the API module for browser-based viewing. But what else can we do here? First of all, I can, as you noticed, this API feature is opened up directly with the model after clicking on it. So I can now go into the details of the model, edit, and for example, choose a different application path, hit submit, and now we're still using the same link, but when I say open in browser, you see that actually a totally different interface opens up. So this is our API test that's also rolled out with any default setup of the UPV web services and browser-based viewing, giving an overview of all types of API calls that are possible in UPV, and they can also be directly tested how to address them. Also, for those interested in how it's done, we're also providing the code, example code for this. So this can be used as a template for your own software or API development here. For example, I could set the color of an object, saying the color, I'll just choose this one here, which is red and a bit of transparency. And for example, I want to apply this to this object here. So the name is DV0202. Great. So I'll just click somewhere else so nothing is selected. I can say, okay, name equals DV0202. I'll run the command, and you see directly in the model, the color of the object has changed. Then I could choose this one. It's DV0203. Great. And say I want this to be green. Enter the hex code, run it, and again, we have a green object with transparency. And I can basically clear colors for all objects by saying, okay, name equals asterisk for the filter, run it, and you see all colors have been reverted. This is not happening in UPV itself, obviously, but it's basically an external application or API test that's sending commands to UPV. Okay, that's great. So we have an option to control UPV from the outside. But what if we want to react to events happening in UPV to trigger externally actions? Well, we have event callback. For example, selection changed. So when I click on the object, you see selection changed, getting the UID here. And when we compare to the ID in the attributes panel, it's identical. And when I click on a different object, again, the UID changes and so on. Basically, this applies to any object I click on. So not only is our API notified that something has been, or that the selection has changed, but it's also giving us the ID of the object selected, so we can basically do follow-up commands. So when we look back at the first example I've showed you, by clicking on an object, we get the object's UID in this case, and then the API directly sends a command with the colorizing that I showed you here a minute ago to colorize the object that that has been reported as selected. And when you click into empty space, you see selection changed, object is empty. And besides the selection change, you can also get the position. So when I click somewhere, I'm getting, first of all, a left click with the screen XY position of the mouse click that I've done, and I also get the model position in XYZ direction. So having an exact coordinate within your model where my mouse has actually clicked onto the model. So this can also be used for all types of scripts in the background and connecting to your, let's say, third-party systems here. We can also turn over parameters to UPV. So let me close the model again. And well, actually, it was a bit too fast. Let me open the one without the API. While I do this, I actually want to show you when I click on an object and copy the UID to the clipboard, close it again, and now we go into the settings for the API, and here I'll just call a fit and say, okay, question mark UID equals this here. Let's say submit. It's just a simple API call we did here. So when I open the model, what it will now do, because I gave it the parameter in the call, when I open the model, it will go straight to the object selected and do a fit on the screen for the defined object. So that's one way to address it, but there's also another way. We've made our deep linking available for the UPV browser-based viewing and UPV web services. So as many of you might know, we have a function to actually create a link. So the link was now copied to my clipboard. And this time I'll just choose WinWord and paste the link here. Hold on. No, not the header. Link. Insert link. And just paste the address from the clipboard that I've defined here. So usually when you have your local UPV application running, it would open the model and go straight to that object. And we've actually added a small tool to be able to switch between browser-based viewing and the local application by using the so-called UPV Web Launcher. So you can actually enter the address of your browser-based viewing server and choose if you actually want to open the UPV API links with web services or with a local viewer. So now that I've closed the model, let me just follow the link. As you see, it opens up the model directly and goes to the object that I've selected. Once the model is open, I can actually also switch back and forth. So in this case, let me create a UPV API link here and just enter another link. So when I click the link, it will switch to the other object. So let's click the first one again. So it will select the left vessel. This way, your UPV API links that you might have been using can be enabled to run directly with the browser-based viewing. Another quick example for an integration, what an integration or use case might look like is, for example, showing the integration in Oracle Primavera Unifier. So in this case, I can, for example, pick the equipment D240 and say, okay, I want to see that in a 3D model. And it highlights the object, grays out the rest. So let me turn this off. And to show you that we're actually not pulling the data from UPV, first of all, you see under attributes, we don't have any attributes like construction state here. But I can still say, okay, please highlight the equipment by its construction state, and it will be colorized according to the below shown legend or pipelines, or all these are API calls that are interacting live with this third-party system, in this case Primavera Unifier, and pulling the real-time information here. How do I know that it's real-time? Well, you see red means on hold, and now I'm going back into Unifier and opening up the asset here and changing from on hold to build, save the change, go back into my model and say, okay, show construction state again, and you see the vessel being red has now turned green because it's pulled the data in real time from the Unifier database. So basically looking at API can be really a vast field, and there's a lot of things that can be done with it. These API code snippets, as I said, you're getting rolled out a bunch of templates with it, and you can integrate and embed UPV in any of your own applications or build additional applications like the right menu you see here now. All in all, every customer has different requirements. If you're interested in more details to this, feel free to contact us anytime, and we'll have a look how to integrate the solution into your system the best way, or how to integrate your existing systems in UPV, basically creating a fully integrated functional digital twin and not just a model viewing. And time has passed quickly, I guess. So we've already reached the end of today's webinar.